The room was already tense before she even stepped inside. The general sat in a perfect line, 5 stars of polished authority, medals gleaming under the cold fluorescent lights. The clock on the wall ticked in the kind of silence that presses against your chest. And then the door creaked open. She walked in, covered in dust, boots leaving faint marks on the white tiles, her uniform torn at the shoulder. Her hair, once neatly tied, now clung to her face in clumps of sweat and grit. Every head turned. And then something no one expected happened. 5 generals stood up, all at once. For a moment, no one spoke. You could almost hear the dust falling off her jacket. The junior officers in the corner exchanged quick glances, unsure whether to salute or to run for help. The woman, Captain Amelia Reyes, just stood there, eyes steady, jaw locked, a storm behind her silence. "Captain," General Harlan finally said, voice low but sharp, "we thought you were dead." Amelia didn't blink. "Almost, sir," she said, "but not quite." The generals looked at one another. One of them, the oldest, General Monroe, leaned forward. "Where's the rest of your team?" Her lips tightened. The answer came out like a whisper of steel. "They didn't make it." A breath caught somewhere in the room. The youngest general, Briggs, shifted in his seat, his pen tapping nervously against the table. "Captain, you were deep in the red zone for 72 hours after comms went dark. How did you—" "I walked," she interrupted, her tone calm, almost too calm. "And I brought something back." She reached into her bag, pulling out a dirt-stained case no larger than a laptop. Its surface was cracked, scorched along the edges. The generals leaned forward as she placed it on the table. The case emitted a faint hum, like a heartbeat trapped in metal. "What's in there?" Harlan asked, his voice suddenly cautious. "Proof," she said, "of everything." The generals exchanged quick looks again. There had been rumors about the failed mission, the lost outpost, the untraceable drone strike. But no one had expected a survivor, and certainly not this. "Open it," Harlan ordered. Amelia's hands trembled slightly as she entered the code, a pattern only she knew. The case clicked open. Inside lay a small data core, glowing faintly blue, pulsing in rhythm with the hum. Every general leaned in, and for the first time the authority in the room felt fragile. "This," Amelia said, "is what we were sent to find, and what they tried to bury." Harlan's eyes narrowed. "They? The ones funding both sides of the war," she said. Her voice didn't shake, but something in it cracked, a weariness only seen in people who've seen too much. "You need to see what's on it before they erase it. Before they erase me." For a second, everyone froze. The air felt heavier. General Monroe spoke softly. "Captain, who exactly are they?" Amelia hesitated, scanning the faces in the room as if measuring who she could trust. Finally, she said, "I don't know all their names, but I know they're in this building." A sharp silence followed, thick, dangerous. Harlan's jaw clenched. "That's a serious accusation," she nodded. "And I have serious evidence." General Briggs reached forward, his hand hovering above the case. "If what you're saying is true, Captain, this could change everything." Amelia looked at him, eyes steady. "It already has." Harlan motioned to the tech officer standing by the wall. "Plug it in." The young man swallowed hard but did as told. The core's light brightened as it connected to the central display. Lines of encrypted code began to stream across the monitor, then slowly formed into a series of images, maps, documents, financial trails, communication logs, and then faces, familiar faces. "Jesus," one of the generals whispered. On screen was a photo of General Monroe shaking hands with an executive from Helios Defense Corp. The same company supplying weapons to both enemy factions. Monroe froze, color draining from his face. That photo's a fake, he barked. Amelia didn't move. It's time-stamped. 3 days before the drone strike that killed my team. Briggs stood up. Sir, if this is real, then... Sit down, General, Monroe snapped. No, let him talk, Amelia said, her voice cutting through like a blade. Let him finish the thought you're afraid of. The room turned electric. The air conditioning hummed louder, as if straining to breathe with them. Harlan pinched the bridge of his nose. Captain Reyes, how did you get this data? Her gaze dropped. Someone helped me. From the inside. That made them all sit straighter. Inside where? Briggs asked. Here, she said. From this base. For a moment, even the hum stopped. General Harlan slowly leaned forward. Who? Amelia hesitated. You could almost see the battle inside her, the need to speak and the fear of what would follow. Finally, she whispered, I don't know their name. They used a code name. Warden. Monroe's hand slammed the table. This is nonsense. A soldier lost her unit, wandered through enemy territory, and now claims a secret informant helped her uncover a conspiracy. Absurd. Amelia's voice rose for the first time. They killed my people to keep this quiet. The words hit like a grenade. Every general fell silent again. You could hear the echo bounce off the walls. Then, slowly, Harlan stood. Captain, what you're implying could bring down command itself. I know, she said softly. That's why they left me to die. The tension coiled tighter, like a wire about to snap. The screen flickered again, this time showing a list of encrypted transmissions. One name blinked across the header, Project Night Vale. Briggs frowned. I've seen that name before. It was classified years ago. Amelia looked up. They revived it, and they're using it to control both the supply lines and the intelligence feeds. Every order, every strike, it's filtered through them. Harlan stared at the screen, jaw locked. You're saying someone inside the command chain is manipulating the war? She nodded. And you've all been following their orders. Monroe pushed back his chair, face flushed. This is treasonous talk. Only if it's false, she said. The room fell into another silence. Even the dust seemed to hold its breath. Then Harlan turned to the tech officer. Download the full data. Now. The officer hesitated. Sir, the file's locked. There's a secondary encryption key. Amelia stepped forward. I have it, but once I unlock it, there's no going back. They'll know. Who's they? Briggs asked again, quieter this time. She looked at him with tired eyes. The people who run this war from the shadows? The ones who gave you your orders? The officer looked at Harlan. Sir? Harlan nodded grimly. Do it. Amelia's fingers moved over the keypad. The room felt colder now. Numbers blinked across the screen, then a soft chime echoed as the lock released. A single file opened. A video. It showed drone footage, grainy, time-stamped from the day of her mission. The drone hovered over a small village in the red zone. There was movement. Her team, then an explosion. But not from the enemy. The strike came from their own coordinates. Someone had ordered it. Briggs whispered, We did this. Amelia's voice cracked. No, they made you do it. Monroe stood abruptly. Turn that off. That's classified. But Harlan didn't move. His eyes were locked on the screen, the reflection of the flames flickering in his pupils. My God, he said softly. They killed our own. Amelia's voice was almost a whisper. To hide Project Night Vale. The lights flickered once. Then the base alarm started to wail. The tech officer spun around. Sir, someone's trying to override the system remotely. Harlan turned sharply. Disconnect the feed. Too late. The screen went black. A robotic voice echoed through the speakers. Unauthorized access detected. Security lockdown engaged. The doors sealed with a metallic thud. Amelia's pulse raced. She looked at Harlan. They found us. And that's where everything started to unravel. The red lights began to pulse in the corners of the room, washing everything in a deep, urgent glow. The air vents hissed as metal shutters slammed down one after another. The briefing room, once filled with quiet authority, now felt like a trap. Emergency lockdown, the robotic voice repeated. Unauthorized data breach in Command Sector 7. Harlan barked. Override the lockdown now. The tech officer's fingers flew across the console, panic trembling in his voice. Sir, it's not responding. The control systems are being rerouted. Someone's locking us in from the outside. Amelia's chest tightened. They're not outside, she said quietly. They're already here. Every head turned. For a second, no one breathed. Then Monroe stepped forward, his hand instinctively moving toward his sidearm. You're saying one of us is behind this? Amelia's eyes met his, cold and steady. I'm saying whoever gave the order to strike my team is in this room. Harlan's voice thundered. That's enough, Captain. But before he could continue, the main screen flickered back on. This time it wasn't code, it was a live feed. The camera showed the command hallway just outside the door. A team of armed soldiers in black uniforms, no insignia, no unit patches, was moving toward them. Briggs's voice cracked. Those aren't ours? Amelia shook her head. They're cleanup. I've seen them before. Monroe's eyes narrowed. Cleanup. They're sent in to erase evidence, she said, and witnesses. The generals froze. The tech officer backed away from the console, fear written all over his face. Sir, they'll reach the door in less than a minute. Harlan's decision came fast. Secure the data core. We hold this room. Amelia was already moving, checking her sidearm, eyes darting to the emergency exit, sealed behind them. We won't hold it for long. These rooms are designed to contain, not defend. Briggs joined her, grabbing a rifle from the wall mount. Then we don't hold it, we escape. Monroe barked. You'll do no such thing. This is a secure military facility, not some playground mission. Amelia turned to him sharply. General, those men aren't coming to rescue us. You want to stay? Go ahead. I'm not dying in another trap. Briggs gave her a quick nod. What's the plan? She scanned the walls. There's a maintenance shaft behind that panel, probably sealed, but I can open it if we move fast. Before anyone could argue, gunfire erupted outside. The sound of boots thundered against the floor. The heavy rhythm of trained killers closing in. The door shuddered with the first hit. Harlan drew his weapon, old instincts snapping to life. Do it, Captain. Amelia ripped off the wall panel, sparks flying, wires and dust spilled out. She reached inside, twisting the manual release. A narrow shaft opened, dark metal just wide enough for one person at a time. Go, she shouted. Briggs helped the tech officer through first, then climbed in behind him. Harlan motioned Amelia forward. You next. She shook her head. I'll cover. Captain, that's an order. She gave him a grim smile. You're not my commanding officer anymore, sir. The door cracked under another hit. Monroe shouted over the chaos. You'll never make it out alive. Amelia turned to him, calm even as the wall shook. That's what they said the last time. The door finally burst open. Black-clad soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. Muzzle flashes lit up the room. Amelia dove behind the table, returning fire in sharp bursts. Harlan and Briggs fired back from the shaft entrance, bullets ricocheting off the walls. Smoke filled the air, acrid and thick. One of the intruders dropped. Another advanced. Amelia's clip ran dry. She ducked, grabbed the nearest fallen rifle and kept firing. Harlan's voice echoed through the smoke. "Captain, move!" She turned, sprinted toward the shaft, bullets tearing through the wall inches behind her. A final shot grazed her arm, but she didn't stop. She dove into the shaft, Harlan pulling the hatch shut just as another round hit the frame. Darkness swallowed them. For a few seconds, only the sound of their ragged breathing filled the narrow metal tunnel. Then Amelia spoke, voice low and urgent. "We have to get to communications. If we can broadcast the data, the truth goes public." Briggs panted behind her. "You think we'll make it that far?" She smiled faintly, though he couldn't see it. "I didn't walk out of the red zone just to die underground." They crawled through the shaft, turning corners lit by dim red backup lights. The metal creaked beneath them. Every sound felt too loud. Behind them, faint echoes of gunfire faded. Then silence. Harlan's voice broke the quiet. "Captain, about what you said earlier. The ones running this, why now? Why show their hand?" Amelia hesitated. "Because I wasn't supposed to make it back. They thought the data died with me. Now they're cleaning up," Briggs muttered. "And Monroe? You think he's one of them?" She didn't answer immediately. Then softly, "I think he's more than that." They reached a hatch at the end of the tunnel. Amelia pushed it open just enough to peek through. The corridor beyond was empty. Too empty. "Something's wrong," she whispered. They climbed out one by one. The hallway lights flickered overhead, casting long, jumping shadows across the walls. The air smelled faintly of ozone, sign of a system override. Briggs whispered, "This way." They moved fast, weapons drawn. Every corner felt like a trap waiting to spring. When they reached the junction leading to communications, the door was sealed. "Manual override," Harlan asked. Amelia checked the panel. "Offline. They've locked us out of the network." Then a voice echoed through the hall, familiar cold. "You should have stayed dead, Captain." They froze. Monroe stepped out of the shadows at the far end, flanked by two soldiers in black. His pistol gleamed under the lights. "General," Harlan said slowly, "what are you doing?" Monroe's smile was thin, finishing what should have been finished in the desert. Briggs raised his weapon. "Sir, you're outnumbered." Monroe chuckled. "Am I?" The ceiling panels above them opened and more soldiers rappelled down, 6, maybe 7. All in black. All armed. Amelia whispered, "Run." Briggs fired first. A clean headshot that dropped one of the soldiers instantly. Harlan took another down before the hallway exploded into chaos. Bullets tore through the walls, sparks raining down. Amelia ducked behind a column, firing in short, practiced bursts. Monroe retreated behind his men, shouting, "Don't let her out alive." Amelia rolled, grabbed the fallen tech officer's data drive, and bolted toward the side corridor. Harlan covered her, shouting, "Go, Reyes. We'll hold them." She hesitated for a heartbeat just long enough to see Briggs hit in the shoulder. Then she ran. The data core hummed in her grip, still glowing faintly blue. The alarms howled louder now, echoing through the base. She turned down the maintenance hallway, her boots pounding against the metal. Behind her, gunfire and shouting faded into the distance. She reached the emergency stairwell and kicked the door open. The air outside was cold, metallic, filled with dust from the desert beyond. She climbed fast, lungs burning. Every step felt heavier, every echo louder than the last. At the top of the stairwell, another sealed door. She swiped her card, denied. Tried again, denied. "Come on," she muttered. Then, a voice behind her. "Step away from the door, Captain." She froze, slowly turned. Monroe stood there, gun aimed steady, blood spattered across his sleeve. His expression was calm, too calm. "I admired you once," he said. "Smart, loyal, brave. But you never understood the bigger picture." Amelia's hand inched toward her holster. "The picture where you sell out your own soldiers?" He smirked. "The picture where the war never ends. Because peace doesn't make profit." Her heart pounded. "You killed them, my team. They trusted you." "They were casualties of correction," he said flatly. "You were supposed to be one, too." Her grip tightened on the data core. "Then finish it." He raised the gun and fired. The shot rang out through the stairwell. For a second, time stopped. Then Monroe staggered backward, eyes wide. A dark bloom spread across his chest. He collapsed, his pistol clattering against the floor. Behind him stood General Harlan, breathing hard, his own weapon smoking. "Not this time," he said. Amelia stared at him, shock and relief mixing in her eyes. He gave a weary half-smile. "You'd better run, Captain, before they send more." She nodded, gripping the data core tighter. "Thank you, sir." "Make it worth it," he said softly. And as she turned to the door, forcing it open with every ounce of strength left in her, the base shuddered beneath them. The alarms turned into one long, piercing note. Outside, the night air hit her like freedom and fire all at once. Helicopters whirred somewhere in the distance. She ran into the desert, dust swirling around her, the horizon glowing faintly with dawn. Behind her, the base burned. Ahead of her, the truth waited. She didn't look back, because some wars aren't fought on battlefields. They're fought in silence, in secrets, in shadows, where courage means standing alone. And Amelia Reyes had already learned that the hardest battles aren't about survival. They're about choosing what's worth dying for.